I'm ready now. Run it back again.
What are you drinking right there?
Monster, dude. Sold my
Ah,
soul to the devil.
you stabbed me in the heart right out of the gate, my man. All right.
Yeah, you know.
Now,
I'm trying to make some healthy efforts. Drinking energy drinks is still something that's a vice.
gotcha. You're in, where are you right now? SoCal or?
No, I'm in Washington, Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma, Washington. Okay, why are you there? Were you in Southern California? Because I see you with Anderson. Is he not in SoCal anymore?
Oh, he's always in SoCal. So, I mean, you know, we got planes and stuff, but
look at you.
Born in Washington, Lakewood, not born. Well, I was born in Lakewood, went to Hawaii for a little bit, moved back when I was around 7. And this is home, you know, and I've always had that idea, like, dude, you know, Conor McGregor did it. Fucking Max Holloway did it. You know, City Kickboxing was just a place. It's like, it's not about where you go. It's about what you create. It's about the passion. It's about the belief systems, and then the actual systems to elevate everything around you. It's like potential's everywhere. Go to a fucking, do a bid, you know, free cane, go to prison. You're going to find the best singers, the best athletes, guys who could have been great. So it's about creating an environment that fosters the greatness, right? So that's when I was like, all right, let's do that shit. Let's make a gym. So now we have Wave Combat Sports, and we're already off to a great start.
So Wave Combat Sports in Tacoma, Washington.
Yes, sir.
Well, I want to get there, but in order to get to Wave Combat Sports, where you are right now in Tacoma, Washington, well, this story starts in Tacoma, Washington. How old are you?
I'm 30 now. I was going to say 29. I'm 30. 30. Friday.
Do you feel different being 30 as opposed to being 29?
You know, it's fucking hilarious is I did have a shoulder strain literally like Thursday. I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. Like I literally am walking into 30 with like not a real injury, but a minor injury. Like, oh man, I got to literally rest this whole week, which I can't do. You know, as soon as I start watching people spar, I can't control myself.
Yeah. Well, that's where now that you're 30, you're going to have some wisdom. Like when I was 29, I couldn't control myself. But now I fucking pulled a hip flexor, moving my ass from one pillow on my couch to the other.
Seriously, man, it's insane.
So born in Tacoma, striking coach, MMA coach, like life coach, one could say, because you take a more philosophical approach, I think, to all this. And you were gracious enough to have me on your podcast kind of in the beginning of the pandemic, I think, back in 2020, right? It's been that long. It's crazy how time goes. And it's been fun watching. I say you have the best soundtrack on all of Instagram. Your videos are educational, of course, you know, entertaining because of what you know, the way you present, but also the soundtrack is pretty badass. Man.
Dude, music is, you know, I think there's so much that connects with music. I remember I was having a conversation with my friend, and he was, you know, his dad had passed away, and he was like going through some shit, and he was running. And he was in just a bad place. He was like, man, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know. I don't have any hope right now. And he runs past his barbecue playing a Carlos Santana song that him and his dad always used to listen to. And that music directly connected with his soul, dude. And he kind of broke down after that one little piece of music. And I feel like music can connect you with the place that you were at, right? It's like, this is when I was listening to that album. Oh man, all the things that were coming back and memories that you don't have in your conscious mind, but they just kind of come from that subconscious, and they're pulled to the front. It's insane. So I kind of leverage that. I'm like, dude, this is the feel good music that I kind of connect to growing up. And I wonder if anybody else connects to this. And I know that there's a lot of people going the opposite direction. And, you know, I've always been counterculture, rebellious in nature. And I want to do things that other people aren't doing. So there goes the funk music on some, you know, most people try to play some badass shit. I'm like, nah, dude, let's play some cool, chill vibes. And it also changes the way I train. I notice in certain gyms when they listen to like, you know, rap, or if you go to a Mexican boxing gym, they're listening to, you know, like certain things. And I noticed that rhythm, you can connect to the rhythm in a certain way. And the way people move is based off of the music they train to, I see.
It's a great point that it does create the rhythm and the atmosphere of the training room. And it doesn't always have to be kill them, smash them, rape them, what
Yeah.
have you, right? Really powerful lyrics. And there's a time and a place for that
Yeah.
in some gyms, in some
Cardio.
career arcs. What's that?
I said just for cardio.
Yeah. Well, there's time and a place to kill them and rip their head off.
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of the time it's not about that. We look at certain ways in which we think and we learn, and the processes of the brain, and shutting off some of the beta waves, or enhancing some of the alpha waves, and the ability to possibly engage in deeper synapses, and you create a greater response layer through the atmosphere of education, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting how music, the auditory stimulation can have on something that may or may not be visual, in which you're hearing one sound rhythm that is seemingly disassociated from the external visual of a punch, kick, knee, switch combination, right? You maybe wouldn't apply those two together, but the merging creates a deeper absorption of that possible technique, right? So I'm certainly not doing a Huberman level justice to the way this actually works, but of course understanding how these.
I thought you did a great job right there, dude. That was fucking the vocabulary that you have is so sick.
I have a Wikipedia in front of me right now.
Dropping fucking knowledge out here. I'm like, damn.
And I think that's why I'm drawn to you and drawn to your content. And this is why you're here. So what the concept of Mike Dolce knows, this is a break-off podcast in which I want to speak with thought leaders in the sports science and entertainment world champions from all different backgrounds, PhDs at the very highest level, individuals who've created documentaries or really delved deep into specific subject matter via an actor, producer, director, writer even, right? So I really want to talk about the deeper levels. The philosophical view. It's not just the punch kick combination. That stuff's great. But in nutrition, man, I don't want to talk about protein, carb, fat, calorie ratios. And that's the least of it. That's the least important part in my world of transformation. It's a personal, emotional. So to that, I want to just briefly start in the beginning. So you're born in Tacoma.
Yeah.
Born and raised. How long did you stay there? Were mom and dad home? Did you live in a regular house? What was childhood like?
So, I wasn't an iPad child. So it's like, right around, I was like the generation right before them. So I had a BlackBerry basically at the end of high school. So, didn't even have a smartphone really. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. I'm the youngest of them. I basically was raised almost like an only child. Nobody was in really the household at all. And, through that, I played a lot of video games, collected fucking Pokemon cards and stuff. And I'm going to say that the reason that I probably do this is because of the video games, is the way to RPGs and stuff. I'm like, I love taking the concept of somebody with completely different strengths and catering to that character. So same thing with fighting. I don't look at each person like this is a cookie cutter situation ever. It's like, I love the challenge of taking that person's strengths, improving them, finding out their weaknesses, trying to fill those gaps, and then trying to create a style that they can kind of funnel their opponents into their strengths. It's like 300 style, right? It's like, we're going to have them go through this one spot that's a bad spot for them. Even though we have a lot less men, we're going to concentrate our forces in this one spot. And that's how I feel that I'm even drawn to coaching. I'm like, man, this is awesome. Like for instance, anybody who understands Pokemon, it's like, this is a fire type. This is a water type. This is a psychic type. I have to play to their strengths. I have to be aware of their weaknesses. And I love it. And I think a lot of fighters can't really do this because they're so fucking selfish. And so fighter coaches usually are some of the worst coaches of all time. They're terrible because they can't think of anyone else but themselves and their strengths and how they would do it. Like, this is how I would do it. So you should do it like this. And if you come to my gym, everybody's like basically a completely different fighter. And I love that. I appreciate that. And it's awesome. So
do you think that's because that there's inherent selfishness to excel as a fighter?
Yeah. Well, I have an inherent selfishness. It's just to excel as a coach. I think the ego is important. It's like,
Me too, actually. I
yeah,
have a
well, you have
vested
to have it.
interest in your success.
Yes. You have to have a drive, dude. You have to have what the fuck would we be doing this for? This is not the smartest job in the world to do this. It's like, it's actually stupid as shit. I'm getting punched in the head. I guess I'm still leading from the front. So I'm on the fucking mass all the time, you know? It's like, it's not the smartest thing to do. There's a lot of others. I would have been a genius had I not done this.
Right? Move over, Elon.
But that's the thing, man. And, you know, growing up in Lakewood and Tacoma, it's like, it's fucking pretty crazy. Like it's
That small town. What kind of town is that?
Yeah, it's like it's low key ghetto and super diverse. So I grew up around, you know, as you can tell by the black scent that I have every now and then that I go in and out of. Right, it's like I grew up. I'm from the hood, so we're doing a lot of crazy nonsense. And I remember I used to be like young Dana White. I used to organize fights in the backyards all the time. Like I'd literally take the best D1 athletes, and we have some great ones. We have some people who went to the Seahawks and stuff and went to the league. And they were, you know, backyard fighting, and I was organizing these events. And I've always been attracted to this sport. I've always been an instigator, but a promoter.
Did you train in Tacoma? Were you athletic in Tacoma? Like in grammar school, what were you doing? I know Pokemon cards and some gaming.
Yeah.
Oh, were you athletic at all?
Yeah, I played basically every sport, man. Like you name it, I played it. I grew up wrestling. I started wrestling when I was like 11.
Okay.
Through high school,
Yep.
And my dad was a boxer, so he taught me how to like punch early on. And so I've been, you know, 30. I've been doing this since I was more than half my life now. And it's funny because I'd started grappling first, really. But then I realized, like, once I started striking, I'm like, oh, I'm probably supposed to be this, just through the natural ability, but just the passion as well. I was locked in. And I, you know, even recently, you know how it goes. It comes in waves of inspiration. And I'm sure sometimes you're like, dude, fitness is fucking stupid. I hate this shit. And same with me. Like sometimes I hate it. Yeah, exactly. The fitness industry, but being even in your job, it's like, you're like, I'm doing the thing I love, but sometimes even if you don't hate it, you're not grateful all the time, right? You're like, oh man, you just become complacent. And I got to a place where I was like, I'm just going through the motions right now. Maybe about a 3-4 month span. And it was annoying and kind of, you know, I gained weight. I just said, fuck it. I didn't care. I wasn't training myself. I would train other people, but I would just have this kind of resentment towards training. And now it's like day one is how I feel. The passion is there so much. And I love it. I think it's because I'm in the gym around motivated people and my fighters and my students, and being able to be around that. It's an awesome, like a farm for energy. Like I'm able to farm the energy from these people.
Was there a catalyst event that got you back on track? So you fell off track, and that does happen. We're hearing your deeper
opening
explanation.
the gym.
Yeah, I go there too. You fell
opening
off
the gym.
And then like, what got you to be like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, man, I need to move a little bit. Was it just seeing someone? Was there a catalyst event, one single event?
Okay, so without naming names,
of course,
or anybody, I would be sparring with high level guys right off the fucking couch, and I'd be doing exceptionally well.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wouldn't even. So it's like I didn't feel challenged at some point. I was just like, I don't know, just didn't care. Like I'm like, dude, if I can do it like this, why the fuck would I even train? You know, because I think the first reason I even started training, especially doing strength and conditioning, was totally so I could be a winner. Like it's ego. I'm like, I want to win. So I'm at the only reason I started stretching was so I could kick people in the head. I never was stretching for the reason of stretching or because I thought it was good for me. Like I said, I'm in a sport where we're inherently doing things bad for you. Even small concussive shots, like small taps to your brain, are not good. The science says it's not good. But I still love it, and I'm in love with it. And there's a competitive nature, and I think there's a part of the identity that I don't want to be this guy, especially at the age that I'm at. I'm young enough to where I can't just, I'm just going to sit out and chill. No, and then I want to lead from the front. And in order to motivate people, especially at my age, and I think I have to motivate them by doing and by showing them, not telling them. I think telling people is one thing, and showing and being the examples is a completely different thing, because they're going to follow what you do.
Yeah.
And especially if it has like hypocritical vibes, people aren't going to listen to you. They don't give a shit. I wouldn't listen to me if, you know, so I just put myself in their shoes. I'm not going to listen to that guy who doesn't do anything. Is a fucking lazy dude who just is talented, or that's what they perceive.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I'm talented at all. It's just the drilling. It's, you know, I mean, I am talented at this sport. I think there's certain things with the body and the frame and my, you know, all the background as far as the sports and athletic background, the hand-eye coordination stuff and the range of sports that I've done do attribute to the style of movement that we bring to the game.
Well, had you not been so diligent, you were a multi-sport athlete as a very young child. So that shows outside of physical attributes, you had a mental attribute to be disciplined, to stay focused, to show up on time, to yield the greatest reward from the training session, the drilling, right? So I think that aptitude is probably most important, in that we have a George St. Pierre and a John Jones equally talented, but physically so diverse. You can't point to John and say, well, that's the archetype, because then you have George. Well, what about Volkanovski, possibly another completely different archetype, let's say. But I guarantee you, those dudes, they get the most out of their training. They probably train more true hours than equally rewarded attribute athletes that might be out there. Some better, like some athletes with better genes, possibly.
Yeah.
They don't have as many reps, as many high quality reps, right? Because it's not just the reps. You see dudes, I'm sure, in the gym, in the fitness world. So I'll kind of like be on the fitness side of the fence, but everything crosses over. These are evergreen principles. I see people in the gym way more often than I am.
Basics are everywhere.
Oh, say that again, please.
The basics are everywhere. You know, I think we see everything through our lens of our profession, and our practitioner, but everything is connected. You know, especially if you're a reader, and I can tell you're a reader because of the words you use. It's insane. It's like at a high level, man. And obviously you wouldn't have gotten to the position that you're in without being high level and diligent, the reps. But beyond the reps, it's the presence. Like you have an ability to not only, like we're talking about the high quality reps. We can both read the same book and come away with not the same amount of knowledge from the book, right? It's like you're totally engulfed and just involved 100% when you're there, which is why I even love this sport. I'm so present. I can't be anywhere else, which is for a person who's overly analytical, like I can tell you are, like we are. Our brain is like consumed. Seneca says we suffer in our imagination more than we suffer in reality. And we're just constantly thinking, obsessively thinking about the things we love to do. And it takes a toll. So that's why I have used this sport as an outlet, because I can be totally engulfed in one technique and not have to think about all the bullshit outside of my life. Because I'm here now. I'm not anywhere else.
So going back to your first ever organized fight, what age was that? What prompted you to get into it?
Teenage years? 1920. Obviously, if you count wrestling, and it's competition, but it's not. But like kickboxing or Muay Thai. I think my first was Muay Thai. And I was like 19 years old. I'd been training maybe like a month or two.
Of course. And
I'm like, God, no, like, you ready? You want to take this fight? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Sounds good. This fucking dude chopped my leg. Like, I didn't even know how to check a leg kicks, dude. So I'm literally asking in the corner, hey, how should I stop this leg kick? And it's even funnier because they didn't fucking give me a good answer. Like they gave me like, I can't remember exactly what they said, but I mean, even then, who gives a shit? If you're telling me how to do something in the corner, it's too late anyways. Yeah. But they gave me a bad answer. I can remember that. I was like, that wasn't right. So like I ended up fucking getting my ass kicked, dude. Like I'm just getting smashed. I gotta find that footage. It's somewhere. But I'm getting smashed over and over and over again. I basically, it's my Uriah Faber moment is how I like to think of it. I'm like, dude, this was brutal. I'm super fucking underweight at the time. So, it's funny. I'm talking to you, the expert of nutrition and fitness and cutting. And, I walk around right now 175.
Okay.
And for that fight, I was at 135. I'm young, of course, but dude, I had the biggest head of a 135er of all time.
Yeah.
It's insane. I look like shit. And then and it's funny because the guy was somehow bigger than me. So even more insane that guy cut the same kind of weight. You know, this is the early days. You know, I tell people the tap out shirts, the fucking just bleed vibe. And, you know, that's exactly where we're at that time. And I got my ass kicked. And that was a terrible experience, but it was an experience that I needed, because from there I went to, I was like, man, there's nobody around me. There's no, you know, I can't go to Duke Rufus. I can't go to fucking, you know, at the time I can't go to Greg Jackson's. I'm just some 19-year-old, no money.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to Florida. So I was just like, let's go. What's online? And I go and somehow find Duke Rufus University online.
Yep.
And he's got the most intricate system on how to check kicks and just deal with kicks. I thought checking kicks was a thing, just dealing with them. So then I go and I have an extra room in my apartment. I clear everything out of that shit. I change the light bulbs to green. I only play a very specific playlist I was reading like psychology books on like the music thing that we're talking about. I'm tapping into those certain waves and tapping and creating that anchor and connection. And then I drill for hours and hours and I videotape all of it. I must have been insane to these coaches. I sent Duke Rufus a bunch of video footage. He responded to me. I sent fucking Dwayne Ledwig footage. Wow. I you know, and they really responded, and now they follow me, and it's awesome. But like, I was just some idiot, you know, like at that time. And Joseph Battolini, I was obsessed, and I get the same messages now. So I'm like, dude, I probably was coming off so crazy, because like it's annoying when somebody tells me, hey, can you judge my technique? And I do it only because I remember the moments when I did that shit. So it's like, I'm like, I gotta respond, because this is your time to now give back. You know, the coaches then gave back to you. This is your time. And they were so helpful. So I was like getting advice. I was drilling, I was repping. I would play highlight reels, and not just highlight reels, but fights in the background of like Giorgio Petrosian, Nikki Holskin, fucking Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, Konsak, who now follows my gym. And I was like, dude, this is so crazy. Anderson Silva, of course, Style Bender before he was Style Bender, you know? Yep. And I was just drilling, recording, drilling, being extra harsh on myself, because personality types like us never really believe that we're good. We feel like we're fucking terrible, you know? And it's one way people think online that I'm just like this arrogant asshole, but like, I don't really like anything about what I do. And when I do something really well, I'm just okay with it. Like, that's what it should have been. You know, I'm not in love with anything that I do. It's just, I'm trying to get better all the time.
If anyone gives me a compliment, I immediately find, or I'm reminded of 10 things that I fucked up or could have done better, wish I had done better. It's like, I'm fucking, don't even talk to me about that. I'm so embarrassed. So like, this is amazing. It changed my life. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
You know, whatever that response, but you're absolutely right. No matter what we do, whatever little medal we may get, it's not nearly satiating, right?
Never, man. And that's probably why I feel like you, especially, I'm sure you've gotten so much hate, right, in your life. Like people,
tons,
they're like,
nonstop.
that's fucking
and I don't know why. I try to help people and they hate, and you get hate. Yeah. But anyway, go.
And so it's like, that's the problem, is like I think also our personality type, though, is okay at dealing with hate, because we've dealt with the internal voice always, right? Whereas I feel like the person who is ultra arrogant never really contemplates or second guesses their choices. They think they're like fucking great. You know, this is why I hate training guys sometimes. Like the average typical bro, you know how often he says, oh, I know. Okay, oh, I know. Okay, yeah, I know. I'm like, dude, first of all, if I have to fucking correct this part of your technique, you don't fucking know. Yeah. You literally don't. And when I'm dealing with women, like, they never really say that shit to me. Like, I guess they're used to being like, you know, constantly looked down on or some shit, because they get the techniques way faster.
Yep.
they're actually learning the shit, and they always keep, they ask questions, which is why I love the question askers who ask good questions,
Yep.
not the fucking guy who just wants to stop and let you know that he knows a piece of the technique. What about if I, if I lock my hands like this, and what if I choke like this? You're like, well, you're asking that question just to show that you know what the fuck you're talking about, and you're just being a dickhead right now.
Yeah.
But like the people who ask deep, insightful questions, that's what I'm looking for, man. And that's the vibe we've created at Wave. It's crazy. It's like everybody, I love being this. Like, it's amazing. It's like, oh, this is fucking sweet. It's like an academy for real.
You mentioned the difference between training males and training females. And I agree exactly with what you said. And in my perspective is that when women do decide, they're more discerning, I think, in those decisions in jumping in, especially to maybe working with myself or our team. We might be a little more male affiliated, 3 weeks to shredded, mixed martial arts, combat sports, right? Even like Rhonda is more polarizing, let's say, more aggressive.
Yeah.
So when women do decide that, we're doing the Dolce thing, they've already gone through the pre-qualification to, I looked at 5 other places. I'm choosing this place for my own specific reasons, where guys are like, yeah, Dolce is cool. I work with Chael Sonnen. Yeah, I'll do that Dolce thing. And I'm going to do the other dude and the other dude and the other. And, I do it because I know what I'm doing. I wrestled in high school too. I cut weight before. I'm just going to, and they're more kind of like dabbling, window shopping. But when the women show up, they're like, yeah, you tell me why, you tell me what I'm supposed to do, why you're having me do it, and what the response will be. And they'll fucking die for you, figuratively speaking, where guys, like you said, I know.
What it is too.
I got to have my post work. For me, it's like I put them on a program, but then they're taking BCAAs because Flex Magazine said, you got to take it pre-cardio so you don't break down muscle tissue. Where ladies are like
problems though. We have commitment issues.
Oh, fair enough.
And that's and it, like I said, like what you have to deal with men, it's not isolated in this. It's how we do anything, it's how we do everything. So you're talking to people who literally, even if they have a wife, they're probably fucking cheating on their wife. It's like, and even if they have a girlfriend, they're keeping 6, 4, or 5 options, right? And so like that's also how I like to be around the people who can commit, because they're probably better people. It's like I want to surround myself with a guy that is a better person. So it's like martial artists first, fighters a millionth. I don't give a shit if you're a good fighter. Actually, I don't even want fighters at my gym sometimes. For every fighter that you have another fucking girlfriend. It's like a committed relationship that takes time, nurturing. And I love the fight game, so I want to be a part of it. But I think so many people think that all I want is fighters. I don't even really want to be around these guys sometimes. They're annoying, they're needy, it's like I want a leader, and I want somebody to be in the gym, and they don't expect anything more than the soccer mom that comes in for bag class at 12 o'clock. They don't expect anything from me, and they shouldn't. I don't fucking owe you shit. Like, it's like, what do I owe you? I don't owe you anything. If I commit and say I'm going to do something, I will do it, but I don't owe you anything. And I've been on that side where I've been like that too. It's like, oh, coach is not giving me enough attention. I'm not getting enough pad work. Well, okay, let's break this down, motherfucker. Let's be honest. Are you paying him for pad work? Or what are you doing for him? Or a lot of guys will come to me, well, it's probably good for your, good for your team. If you got a fighter, that's good. No, it's not. How's it move the needle for me at all? What's the bottom line of this? It's not. I think people have this like weird idea of like, oh, people should give me sponsorships. Why? How are you going to help their business? Or they should just sponsor you for what? Because you're you? It's such a weird, egotistical game. And, guys are already egotistical. And in this industry, when we're talking about male and females, it's already a hugely male-dominated sport. So it's like, it's already super uncomfortable to even come here as a woman. And some of the best like partners are women, but they get looked over. They're like, if I go grab a partner and let's drill, people are going to look at like, okay, there's that guy. There's that guy. I'm going to go with that guy. When that guy could be the worst partner ever. And you just skip literally probably somebody you would have a much better training session with, but you just assume that they suck. It's weird, man.
You mentioned two things I'd like to circle back to. Number one is the quality of the person being the barometer of your relationship. And in that, those who are unfaithful, you know, for the fight sports, many sports, all sports, all industries are infiltrated with this personality type. But a guy who's not faithful, who's running around, rather common, right?
Yeah.
Can you ultimately trust someone? One of my athletes, very famous athlete, by the way, had said one time that it was a Saturday night, and every Friday and Saturday night, all the coaches and training partners, they would get their little bit of per diem. They would take their little bit of cash from the athlete. They would get Ubers and whatnot, and they would go to the local clubs, man, and they would go crazy, right? Crazy. And these are in different states and sometimes different countries than their home is. And most of them have relationships. And almost every single one was not faithful. And the athlete who was living, you know, a different life had said to me one night, I'm sitting there drinking tea at like 11 o'clock on Friday night. He's like, why aren't you with everyone? You never go with everyone. Why aren't you with everyone? I'm like, I'm good here. And he said, you know, that's why I fuck with you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, through all, and like, we weren't hangout buddies. I wasn't fun, right? He'd go and have, you know, he's got great stories with all the other people, but stories with me are sitting in the little living room sipping tea at 11 o'clock on a Friday night. He said, this is why I fuck with you, because I know at the end of the day, you are like this. So anytime we have dealings in the future, I know who I'm dealing with. He's like, these guys, look at what they're doing to their wives right now.
Exactly.
You think they're not going to fuck me just as hard, like as they're doing to their wives? And I was a young man at that. We were younger. I was probably about your age. I'm 45 now. So I was in my very early 30s at that point. And that was a big epiphany. Now, I say this as a man who's with the same woman for 21 years. My wife and I, we've been together since, you know, our early 20s, and here we are. And it's an amazing relationship. And I am very judgmental. I got to say, I'm very judgmental because it's impossible. It's impossible. You can't be faithful or working with athletes that would just dog their loved ones who are so sweet and so supportive and dealt with so much bullshit. So I am rather opinionated. And I, you know, 5, 8, 10 years ago, kind of had this moral clause that if I will not have you sit in my home and eat dinner with my family without me being at the table, I'm not going to work with you. Yeah. You can kind of maybe see over the course of my career, how my career and the athlete selection changed and then went down to zero at the very end. Cause I was just fucking over the industry, the game, the pretext. So my little diatribe here, what are your thoughts on that side? How deeply connected can you be with an athlete that doesn't live by your moral code, whatever that might be?
You know, it's like, as much as I try to not be judgmental, I'm just like you. I mean, we're coaches. You think I'm not going to be judgmental? My life is my livelihood in life is to judge people. So it's like, to turn that off is very difficult. I'm the exact same dude. If you're I can't trust you, bro. You know, I clearly can't trust you. So why am I going to put any kind of faith or trust into you? But at the same time, I will forgive you if you're making a concerted effort to change.
That's a fair point. Good point. True.
So it's like, if I can see you improve as a person over time, I will put some trust into you. It's not like I'm going to be like, I'm all the way in. Okay, you're working at it. Now I'm working on trusting you. Yeah. But if I can see that you're either the same or you're going on a decline, I'm out of here. I'm over it. I'm done with that shit.
Yep. Good point. All right. Now let's take it back more towards the fight side. So when you had your first fight, you really advanced yourself into exposure, proximity. You put yourself in the proximity of content a decade or so ago. I mean, this is barely outside of the AOL dial-up days. You know, this is going way back. This is the MySpace era. You know, maybe 12 years ago or so was 2010. So Twitter is just, I think I got my Twitter account in 2009.
YouTube was just started. YouTube had just started, and like, you know, maybe there's 7 popular people on YouTube. Yeah.
And none of them, so this is back in like Rob Common days, like the Rob Common DVDs. I remember those circulate around here. Like
Boss Rutan bar stuff. Yeah.
El Guapo. So then what happens? Do you actually leave Tacoma? Do you go and find training somewhere else? Do you put yourself inside a brick and mortar, or you just stay in Tacoma? You keep refining through whatever means necessary.
Tacoma, man. You know, and I got huge inspiration from like the Conor McGregor types coming up. I'm like, they don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then I thought, like, it's kind of fucked up. I don't like using people's, I won't use this guy's exact name, but we all know that some of the greatest fighters have some of the worst sparring partners of all time. So it's not like going and training with John Jones is going to make me John Jones.
Yeah, fair.
You're like, dude, this guy fucking sucks. You know, or going and being around Conor McGregor makes me like Conor McGregor in any way. Yeah. So it's like, I wanted to be that guy. And I noticed, like, with Floyd Mayweather, when you have the focus and concentration around you, and that point's almost been proven by Trevor Whitman.
Yeah.
Less is more. Concentrated focus is more. More people. Like if I'm in a room full of 30 UFC fighters, 10 Bellator fighters, and I'm just this amateur fighter, you think I'm going to get any fucking attention? Like nobody's going to focus on me. They're going to think, they're also going to treat me as though I'm on the bottom of the pool. So I hate to be the big fish in the small pond, but the big fish gets to eat more in that small pond than if he was a small fish in the big ocean. So it's like, I get both ideas. And then Mighty Mouse being right up the fucking street with Matt Hume inspired the shit out of me. I was like, bro, he doesn't have, when he said he has a training partner that's a plumber and that's his main fucking training partner, I was like, oh, well, fuck everything else.
Yep.
It's on me. And I noticed that people who say, well, I train with blah, blah, blah. I train with blah, blah, blah. I train with blah, blah, blah. It's basically a shifting of responsibility. It's like, well, is fucking blah, blah, blah gonna fucking fight for you, dude? No, you have to fight for you. So when you go out into the ring, it's an individual sport. And I just knew that there's not really a high level of accountability. It's like, I know I can be accountable if I train. If every single session that I train, I record. And I did that. So I have all this footage. I've made narrations and film study of not only my fights, of my training footage, but of classic fights, what works at the elite level. I just stopped listening to people. I'm like, people don't know shit, dude. You know, when fucking Roger Mayweather goes, most people don't know shit about boxing. And that applies to everything. So it's like, stop listening to people, start watching and observing. You know, the perceiving is just observe. And unless I can back something up with some kind of film, don't even think it, because that shit's bullshit. Your opinions don't matter here. You know, even with the tradition, I feel like I'm so fucking sick of tradition sometimes. And Muay Thai is steeped in tradition. And people, I fucking break it like it's a goddamn, I break class like it's fucking soccer. It's football. We fucking get in the middle of a huddle and go on 3 wave. I'm sick of tradition. I'm sick of school telling me what I got to do. I'm sick of people telling me how I need to fucking act. I'm more of an animal, not in the way that's, I see red, bro, I'm built different, but more in the animal that I appreciate the movement side of this shit, the exertion, the cooperation, the community. I don't give a fuck about people's traditions. I just don't care. You know, like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not from a country that even really bows. So what are we doing here? I'm not going to bow to these mats. I don't respect these mats. I respect the human beings on the mats. I respect every single moment and piece of energy that they gave me. And I'm okay if you want to bow to the mats. I'm okay if you want to do whatever you want to do. But as soon as you try to tell me what the fuck I need to be doing, you can go fuck off.
I like it. So more of a Western approach to martial arts, right? The Eastern is very much, you know, you line up in belt order, you bow to your sensei, bow to your professor, bow to your superior effectively, where you're more of the Western style, which is that team style, which is the huddle, right? Big huddle, everyone in, feel each other's energy, right? It's a circle for a reason, I believe, that type of energy.
Exactly.
Coach in the middle for sure as the point of the spear.
Yeah, and you know why? I literally have a jujitsu instructor at our school, and they do the same shit. I just think that's fine.
Yeah,
of course. But on the other end, I'm just not that way. I really believe expressing yourself authentically. Yep. And I think if you start to express yourself inauthentically, it transfers over into every bit of your life. So, you know, sometimes I'll have like I have like a 16, 15-year-old in my class, in the fundamentals class. And, you know, you got me. I don't change the way I talk. And I'm this guy that you're talking to 24/7. For good or for bad, but it is what it is. My body and my brain just don't like acting a certain way. People like, you would be a great actor. No, I wouldn't. I'd be a fucking terrible actor. I'm terrible at reading lines and scripts, and I just feels bad, and you can hear it in me. Like, some people are great at that shit. I can only narrate things that I'm passionate about, and I can only be myself. If I try to act like something else, and it comes off really fucking bad. It sounds terrible.
Back when I was positioned for UFC Fit. So the UFC ran this 12-week personalized program. They needed someone to create it. I was one of those in the running. And then I was selected as their choice. And in the conversation, they said, hey, like, we want you to become an employee of the company to be a part of this. It was a great deal. I have nothing bad to say. It was all great, just a great opportunity and a good package. But the employee issue, I said, listen, I want to be open with you. I am a terrible employee, horrible employee, that you will want to fire me if you look at me as an employee. I'm not asking for more money here. I'm asking for nothing other than the categorization of, I'm an amazing teammate. I will work longer than most. I will show up at atypical times. I'll take a different approach. I will do things outside of what my job requirements are delineate for the betterment of my team, of the project as a whole. That's how I'm at my very best. So if we can move in that direction, I'm all in. And that came across very honest and refreshing and atypical, because in a corporation like that, well, they want the W-2 employee because that gives them a layer of control. But having this conversation, knowing who I was, where I was my best, fortunately, I did have a body of work that I could point to.
Yeah, of course.
Right, to support that. And it was an amazing relation for everybody. We did really good work together as realtors. That, but the point is, I was true to myself. I wasn't conforming, because had I conformed, man, I've been an employee before. Doing things I really love, but I was miserable. I was horrible. I'm not a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday type of person. 2 15-minute breaks and a 30-minute lunch. Fuck no. I'm a 12-hour straight through on a Sunday sometimes, because that's when my mojo is pushing me into that space, right? That energy space to get it done. So just a different approach. And I love what you're saying, man. And that's very refreshing, and it's rare. I've been in, who knows, hundreds of martial arts gyms in my life, for sure. High levels. And the way you're crafting the atmosphere, to me, is resonates. I love that. I don't like this so formal. I do it out of respect. Me too.
And right? I do it. I do it. I understand it too.
Yep.
It's just, from my perspective, I want to create the place that I wanted to be in when I was growing up. A coach who is not my fucking master. Like, what does that even mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, first of all, nobody's infallible. So I hate this like idea that you are better than me. I just understand this one portion better than you. I'm a Sherpa to a mountain that you have not climbed. I've climbed this specific mountain many times. I'm a fucking high level bellboy at the Four Seasons. I am nothing more than that. I am here for customer service. I serve you. People ask me all the time, can I mop the mats? No, because I get paid here.
Wow.
I mop the fucking mats, dude. Like, this is not a business. This is not a community, how people try to frame it. I'm not trying to take the blue belt to become a teacher and do this shit for free. Like, dude, this is like, I hire employees. You know, I contract people to work here. This is about money. This is a business. The number one goal of business is profit.
Yeah.
So I joke all the time with my friends. I'm like, the gym's growing. I'm gonna be rich. So don't mop any of this shit. Like, I take care of this. I pay cleaners. I think it's important to know that what I'm in this for. I'm in this for money. But with my personality, I could have done anything and made a ton of money. But I'm in business for money. But then what I do for my hobby is train people to fight. I don't have to do that. I could totally just run a goddamn regular business of, you know, just like, hey, I teach class and we do heavy bag classes and we cater to an older group with money, and I don't care at all about, you know, people wanting to compete. But I love competition, and I love living vicariously through my team. And so it's all selfish. I tell people, I'm like, I don't do anything for you. Everything I do is for myself. Like, to be in a gym around motivated people, for myself. To have a lot of members and make a lot of money, it's for myself. To create a culture that attracts people that I like being around, that's for myself. I think people have this twisted idea, and then they have this fake fucking high, you know, like living on a high horse, and this fake humbleness. It's all full of shit. Like, you guys are all bullshit. Now, is everyone benefiting off of what I'm doing? Yes. But don't get this shit twisted. I'm the one really benefiting. I'm the one cashing the checks, and I'm the one loving my life. I just happen to also be helping people, which actually makes me happier. It's not because I'm helping them because I'm fucking Mother Teresa or Gandhi or some shit. I'm happier when I help people. So it's for me too. I don't care about like just that. It's all selfish, which I think once I started to understand that, I got out of my own way, and I don't feel bad about it because everybody else is benefiting from it too. But I do know what the fuck the point is. I'm living a better life and I'm happier for it.
That's it. You're in business. Your business needs to provide what we say with our coaches. You are not a professional unless you are gainfully employed, like fighters. You just made $500 beating up some dude at the local strip club. You're not a professional fighter. You could have 10 fights that year and only make $5,000 at that rate. That can barely cover where your wife wants to go on vacation. That doesn't cover, that doesn't even fund an IRA, right? So that's not a lot of coin. To be a professional is this is how we cover our expenses. This is how I feed my kids. This is how I put my kids through college, right? This is how we do the things we want to do. And we do so with so much margin. I don't have to think about money anymore. Then I can really spend my time helping other people live their dreams. And there's that value proposition, right? I'm providing a service to people that's so far in excess what they would pay for what they receive in return. They're happy to reward me with those little green pictures of presidents for my time and energy and aptitude and passion and experience, right? That's what this is. And this is where a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners, they don't get it. They might have a really good widget. They might be really smart, but they don't understand the value proposition, which is I want to be fucking stinking rich. I want my great grandkids to be stinking rich because of what I do today. But I'll only get there if I provide tremendous value to
and then you don't reek of desperation. You have time and energy to increase the value of the things you offer. You only make the offer better because you're not scrambling and scrounging, and you're not desperate. It's like the person who gets anything is never desperate. So it's like when you're around confident energy and you're around a successful entrepreneurs, you're like, oh, they carry themselves so much differently. Like, they literally can say no to a $1 million business deal if it just doesn't work out in their brain. They're not trying to figure out how to understand it and try to force it into existence. They know opportunities come left and right. You know, it's like, that's what's going to happen when you are an elite level anything. It's just like when you're the cream of the crop, offers come all the time. And if it doesn't work out, like you're saying with the UFC fit thing, if it does or doesn't, it's okay. You're going to be all right, dude. Some people, though, they'll miss an opportunity, and then they'll use that opportunity that they missed as like a focal point in their life as when everything started to go downhill. Oh, I could have been a D1 athlete, man, but, you know, I wrecked my knee, and, you know, there went my dreams, and now I'm doing this and that, man. You know, I would have been great. Okay, so that's what stopped you from being great. Yeah, maybe it could derail your career, but you could have been great at something else. But you just use this one piece of one hurdle instead of using this stumbling block and keeping it a stumbling block. You could have used that as a stepping stone for something else, you know? And I'm just like, I'm confused at how people do that shit. It's like, dude, so what if I have a bad day? Dude, they broke my so somebody broke my door to the business yet 2 days ago. And I literally, somebody told me about it. We got it figured out, we got it handled. And I went right back to sleep. I fucking just, I don't give a shit. Winners are gonna win. It doesn't matter. Don't allow the external things to get to you like that. Who cares? Like if I have a bad day, it's okay. I'm gonna have bad days. Most surprises are gonna be bad. So most surprises are not gonna be good surprises.
True.
It just is what it is.
Now, you have a lot of experience working with world-class athletes. What was your first access to the world-class level where you were working with an elite athlete? And what did you notice about that type of difference between the average and what makes someone world-class?
Yeah. So shout out to Tom Musson and Tacoma Boxing Club. Tom Musson was the Olympic boxing head coach for the 1980, I can't remember exactly what year that was, 1980 something, but Tom Musson, he was the head coach there. He's in Tacoma. So I had the opportunity to work with a lot of national boxing champions. And it's awesome to work with national boxing champions who are broke.
Okay.
Because you realize, oh, they're just like me. They're just trained pretty fucking often. There's no mystique to them, except for the skill. The skill speaks for itself. Yeah. You're like, holy shit. This is what happens when compounding interest of investment over time. You're like, oh my God, this motherfucker just hit me 7 times with the same hand, same punch in less than a second. How the fuck did he throw all those left hooks? How can he see? How can he react this fast? And how can he talk shit to me the entire time? It's a gritty environment. You see children just getting after it. That was my first exposure. And it showed me how different the level of hands are in comparison to MMA athletes and kickboxing athletes and Muay Thai athletes. I'm like, they can't fucking box for shit. Like just in comparison to this guy or these guys, you're like, dude. So the level of boxing is very high. We got a couple of 2-time, 3-time national champions. We've got good level pros. And even we got the Benavides brothers in, I want to say Renton. Yeah, they have a gym out there too. So Washington has a high level of boxers. And then, when you start moving around, going, training with Joe Lozon, Calvin Cater, Rob Font, Andre Souk, you start to see like, oh, these are just dudes, hardworking individuals getting after it. They're just guys though. They're very fucking normal, regular people. But they have a certain level of commitment and grittiness. And I think it's just constant follow through. And where that motherfucker is going to be every week at what time.
Yeah. It's
like, I don't have to guess. I know where he's going to be. He's going to be at that same place every week. I know what the fuck he's going to eat too. He eats the same fucking thing every week. I know what he's going to do on the weekend. Absolutely fucking nothing after training. He's going to go study. He's going to go watch film. It's a boring ass fucking life, actually. All the glitz and the glamour that come with this life is a compilation of boring shit. It's like, that's why it's sometimes hard to get through an embedded these days. When I watch a UFC embedded, I realize how fucking boring these people's lives are and how boring they are. It's rare to get a Conor McGregor because its fucking life is boring. You're not doing anything special.
It's funny that's probably why the Conor McGregors, the Chael Sonnens, the Colby Covington stand out, is because they put a shine on the boring and the monotonous. Those guys train as hard or harder than everybody in their weight class, right?
Yep.
They're not cutting corners. They're getting it done, and they're doing all the media associated with it, and dropping all the sound bites and shooting all the quick clips and the Instagram reels and the YouTube shorts, right? They're doing all that shit too, but they're making it more, they're actually creating subtext and storylines that run parallel to the stupid upcoming fight, right? To be fair, you got to fight. How do you feel? Are you ready? Like, motherfucker, worst question.
That's only though if you let the reporters create narratives, because they're fucking terrible at storytelling. So what I realized is every person's story is interesting if told right.
Great point.
Especially the monotonous.
Yep.
You know, and that's what I make a living doing. And I think if you watch my content now, in a year from now, my growth will be exponential.
Okay.
Because the content is changing. I mean, you followed me for a while, right? You're starting to see it's different now. It's
Absolutely.
a little bit different,
And I'm down for the journey, man. I love it. I enjoy it. You're in my every day.
Every day.
Coach Micah be doing, you know, like,
and I'll be on today as well.
What's
and
that?
I'm doing this podcast, and it's amazing. Like, dude, I grew up watching you, and I'm here now talking to you. I don't even see myself as a peer. I'm still a fucking fan, dude. I'm a fan of you, man. This is like, you know, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. And I think that's also why I love this gig, because it's like, you know, it's instead of my idols becoming rivals, it's like my idols are becoming peers. And I fucking talk to Anderson Silva all the time. I'm like, it's weird as shit. It honestly is. I'll stare off into space, because I'll be in the conversation. You know, you're dealing with high level athletes. Have you gotten to work? I have a question for you. Have you gotten to work with somebody you looked up to?
Randy Couture hired me for my first job, head strength coach at Team Quest North in 2004, when he was getting ready to fight Tito fucking Ortiz. And they hired me. I was like, oh, are you fucking kidding? It's the natural, right? Who was bigger than Randy at that time?
No one.
So it was like, yes, but continue on. So the answer is yes, of course. And every athlete.
So no, yeah, but like, it's different though when people are famous, right? Yep. Because
Randy Chael, Ronda, Vitor, right?
Yeah, but they're just famous. You didn't grow up loving them.
Yeah.
Idolizing them. Like, I have a lot of famous friends, but I didn't like Anderson fucking Silva, dude. I idolize that motherfucker.
Yeah.
To me, he's more important than Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
You know, like,
absolutely.
So I'm like, oh my God, dude. And to be familiar with him and cool with him. And then when you meet him, he's not the fucking guy that you like. He's everything you wish he would be, how he would act, the graciousness, the humility.
Yeah.
And it's a constant reminder for me not to get fucking put my head in my own ass and be a fucking complete dickhead to anybody. Yeah. Stop for the picture, be nice, be kind, and just embrace all the things that I always think, what would Anderson do in this situation? How would he act? You know, like, he's not going to be up his own ass. Like, he's just a cool dude. And he fucking gave Tito's girl his fucking first class ticket so they could sit next to each other. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, imagine KOing a guy and then the guy's like fucking super nice to you. You're like, oh my God, this is weird.
You know, I want to briefly pause. What does that say about fucking Tito? If that was me and my wife, we'd be in the lobby. We only got 1 and 1. If I can't make the switch, baby, that's your seat. Your first class.
That's your seat.
That's yours, right?
Yeah.
I can't believe Tito was even there with his girl in the packet. Anderson had to come and fix it.
Well, have you seen fucking Tito talk for a minute?
Bro, man, Tito can suck a dick, in my opinion. Exactly. Tito said shit about me. He can suck a dick, that dude. That dude's a fucking loser.
Yeah, but it's like he didn't come to that decision because he also doesn't know how to form that thought. He would never get to that thought.
He would never get past the narcissism of Tito to actually think about a kind deed for someone else, specifically his lady. 100%. And I don't know him very well as a person. I just know some of the shit that he says.
Yeah, and I love it though, because it's beef for life. That's how I think too. Because like I said, I'm from an area where it's always been like that. To me, it's like I'm okay with the confrontation. Yeah. Fuck you guys. And it's fuck you for life. I got a couple of people it's on site.
Oh, and care to share any names?
No, hell no. You know, fuck them. You know,
I love it. Even better.
No shine, baby. You can go. You know, fuck off.
Nice, man. Well, brother, I'm conscious of your time. I said an hour. We're right about the hour right now, but I want to talk briefly about Wave Combat Sports, the number one gym in Tacoma. Of course, man, if you're in the Tacoma area, which is, Tacoma, the Tacoma Dome. I fought in the Tacoma Dome.
Yeah, dude.
Dennis Hallman days, right? Dennis Hallman was kind of crushing, and Benji Raddick and many of the other, holdouts of the early days.
Yes.
So tell us about Wave Combat Sports. How to, not how, because it's easy to get in touch with people these days.
Yeah.
But what are you doing for people? We covered it briefly, but what are
Yes.
you doing for people
Yeah.
inside the gym, and what can they
Yeah.
expect when they walk in?
So elevator pitch, we are helping people build real confidence through Muay Thai. So it's like the realest personal development that you could ever have through Muay Thai, through BJJ, through fitness. So it's mixed martial arts as well, but I'm not trying to cater to MMA bros. We're martial arts first. We are personal development first. And it's just a good time, man. It's amazing. We have a full facility. It's huge, 10,000 square feet.
Wow.
Any kind of piece of fitness equipment you could even imagine. We have all kinds of cardio equipment. So if you have some crazy routine or program you want to go through, and you actually need a gym where you can fucking put chalk on your hands and grunt and actually work out and be around actual fit people. We don't fucking give away pizza, you know?
Yeah.
It's a real investment in yourself. There's a level of exclusivity. It's appointment only. It's a key fob system. We have showers. We have, anything you could imagine that actually gets you from point A to point B. We are the bridge to the gap. So we're trying to help you achieve real confidence, and more so than getting into shape and being fit, the process of it is what we focus on. All the small, beautiful choices that lead to the beautiful body that you have. That's the part we're focused on. A very low ego environment, in the sense that you're used to ego. The ego we have is real and it's dedicated to getting better. We have a real ego, one it's based off of balance. It's based off of cooperation and healthy competition between all of us. We all love it. We cater to all levels from beginners to highest level. Before we even opened, we had Andre Feely, UFC veteran in there. We had Gaston Bolanos, one of the best Muay Thai practitioners of all time to come out of America, training partners, Kevin Ross and shit, before the gym even opened.
Wow. Those are big names, man. Those are big names.
Yeah. We're going to have
Kevin
many
Ross,
more.
Gaston. Those are top of the food chain.
Savages, dude. Like, people don't even know either, because it's like everything's about hype now. Fucking Jake Paul is a great example, right? Everything's about fucking hype now. So we're about the real, but we're also about the hype, baby. So if you come that way, you can expect to be around a lot of cameras, around a lot of great energy.
Yep.
It's just, I think it's an unmatched energy. Like I said, I mean, it's easy to say that, but dude, that's all I get. Is like, the culture here is fucking cool as shit. Everybody's so chill. They're controlled, but they're actually like good, and I think it's a necessary component for longevity and the health of everybody. We have a very high level standard in every way. So let me just talk about the curriculum in general that we've covered. It's a 3-month block to get from the fundamentals class to the advanced class, if you can make it twice a week. So you can expect to be in the advanced class if you can make it twice a week. It's very simple. I've taken the MIT data and statistics program, and I've taken their curriculum and modeled mine after that. The daily lesson planning from a couple of different Harvard courses. So we have the highest standard. It's academy-like in every way possible, and I'm only doing more and more to make the experience seamless. Like I said, my focus is where you're at and where you want to be. So if you are a person who is trying to become confident in your ability to defend yourself, and this is the defending yourself ability, I can get you there in 3 months, and I can get you more and more confident, in 6 months and in a year. But what you're going to find out after you come is you're going to be addicted and you're going to stay. It just is what it is. You're never going to want to go to another gym, because I don't. And sometimes I forget that it's my gym, because I'm just like, fucking, I'm in there. I'm just hanging out. I just feel like another member as part of the community. It's weird.
That's awesome. When did you guys open officially?
We opened January 3rd. We're newly open, fresh.
Oh, so you're brand new.
And we're booming. Business is booming.
You.
Like I said, I'm going to be rich, dude.
Rich bitch. And how big do you foresee your growth, and when do you hit that point of scale where you have to reserve memberships or open up a secondary location?
Oh, so I don't ever plan on opening another location. And it's okay because the content side of the game is so big, right?
Yeah.
So it's it's like let's go back to the selfish part. It's a content factory. it's like this is where I have fun. This is what I do. This is a lifestyle. I just built a giant studio. That's what it feels like.
Love it. Yep.
And so I don't care. I'm not trying to water the quality down. Yeah, we're gonna have to probably put a cap on memberships within the year. Who knows, man? It's gonna kind of suck, but it is what it is. You know, I mean, it's a good problem.
First world problems, man. But that's a good thing, because then you have it locked in, you have it zooming, and that's the point where you can really work on efficiencies, start putting in different structures, right, to the system to make it run even smoother, even better, freeing up more of your time, hopefully increasing margin, so then you can provide more value, or if growth opportunity comes in. But maybe, I mean, your digital side, I could imagine, would be equal to your brick and mortar side. It's going to
surpass it for sure. It's going to surpass it. Like the gym is going to crush, but the content side, you're a content guy. You know how big that can get, right? Yeah. You know, infinite. You know how great those margins are.
Yep.
You're like, dude, what fucking margins? They're non-existent. And so like you have so much time and energy, and whenever you do get resources, you can put it right back into the content. But there's also a cap of like, there's not much I can do. I'm not Mr. Beast. I'm not giving away fucking $1 million in the video. What else can I can't really even do anything. We can upgrade the camera equipment to the 9s. We can get multiple camera people. We can get, staff to do all the thumbnails, titles, tagging, SEO. But at a certain point, there's a cap. Yeah. Like, it's not that big of margins. And I don't really plan on doing those types of things that much. It's like, I'm more interested in creating content that is just like, it's more about documentary style. Like just documenting this sweet ass life. Yeah. And it's not that expensive to do so. I'm going to spare no expense, but it's still, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, not that expensive in comparison to like a brick and mortar business can get really fucking expensive,
Absolutely. Like brick and mortars, depending, where with you guys, you have to cover the space, right? You got to cover the square footage. You got to cover the staff. You got to cover the utilities, but there's not perishables. It's not like you're running a fish factory or you're serving monthly meals, right? Your chicken's going to go bad if you don't serve it within 3 days. That sucks, right? Yeah. So with what you're doing, I think the burn rate is a lot longer. You can keep the doors open at lower relative cost to talk briefly about business, which we do talk about business and finances quite a bit on this channel too with our audience.
I love it, man. It's like, and it's like I said, it's an honor for me to even pick your brain. So it's like, I love to be here and learn.
Oh, bro, this is awesome. And it's a two-way. And that's what I love about this is we all have different perspectives and personas. And we think people are different than who we really are, which is just two dudes trying to do the same thing, man. Yeah. 100%. Trying to do something that we don't fucking hate, that makes us enough money to do the things we like and not hurt people in the process. And God forbid we can provide value. High five. Then it's like, well, how well can we do that? And for me, I love seeing people like you who I've, been following. We've been friends now for a while and just watching you continually crush it. And I have enough experience in life and business and this niche to see the trajectory. Like I'm big on trajectory. It's like, man, I can see where this motherfucker is is going, right? And that's fun to see. So it's nice to have these conversations. And I always say when I talk to people, one person or 1,000 people, we're at a big round table.
Yeah.
At a round table. Just my turn to talk.
Going back to what we were talking about with the huddle, right? It's like let's go. It's all of us. Yep. And I try to, sometimes I forget to say this, but I say it's an honor to teach this class. Thank you so much. I'm fucking and I'm not even lying. I'm in the mindset, like I understand trajectory and all that, but it's like I really am in the mindset that maybe after I get off this call, I die. And I still did the thing that I wanted to do. And I'm living in it's moment to moment. I would appreciate if I could get to the trajectory that we're seeing, but if I don't, And, you know, if I had one more day, I'd still want to go to class and teach. If that was the last thing I could do, I would do that. You know, and I don't believe every coach feels that way. I know they don't. I can feel it in you know, and the one thing you can't just work on is passion, to be honest. It's like you can work on delivery, you could work on curriculum, you could work on being a fucking beast. I mean, you could do all these things. But the one thing that I feel like innately people can feel, especially if they have a good emotional IQ and barometer, is passion and authenticity and love. I love this more than anybody I've ever met, actually. You know, like I know I'm talking to people all the time, and especially in this industry, but I'm like, I can tell I love this more than you. You know, and it's like it shows in my day-to-day what I'm doing with my time. There's actually one person that I actually do know loves this more than me, like that I've met. So because I haven't met everybody, and I know there's other people super ultra passionate about this. So for me to go and say that is dumb as shit, right? But I've met one guy is more passionate than me that I know personally. So it's not just like I've met every person out there. It's Barry Robinson. That man is a fucking psychopath in the best way possible. He literally studies film probably most of his day. He's one of those real practitioners. And I don't have the time to study film most of my day. But even when I didn't spend most of my day studying film.
Wow. God bless him.
Yeah, he's insane. I love him.
Barry Robbins?
Barry Robinson.
Robinson.
He's one of the guys who coined the term rhythm step. Okay. And it's that thing that people do to reset every time they hit, like, let's say I hit a bag, and I do a little rhythm step. It leaves you open, it brings your feet together, and you're in a state of rest and not in a state of being able to be explosive or absorb explosion. So he's one of the GOATs, one of the best minds for this game, and he's absolutely insane, which is amazing. But you know, that's the fucking key, man. Is just, you know, when I'm learning from you and when I'm talking to you, it's just amazing that you can see it as well, because it's like, that's what I'm trying to do. And I know if I'm attracting the attention of people like yourself, and you guys are aware of it, that I'm on the right trajectory and path, and I'm doing the right things, and I need to make more adjustments so that this happens. And I'm actually really happy that this didn't happen overnight, because what goes up fast comes down fast. And while I'm working on things, I get to fix the little inefficiencies, and I can tweak things before the real attention comes. You know, by then it's going to be polished as fuck. When I'm in the you know, when I pass the 1 million follower mark on multiple platforms, you know, I'm trying to be like, if I had to be like two people, I want to be like Bill Nye and Anthony Bourdain, but then also the guy that's actually the practitioner. So it's like, you know, I want to be able to meet multiple things, and I want to have a skill set that quite nobody in the world can have. So that's like my goal, you know.
Man, I love it. Again, I see the trajectory, right? And you got to smile. So, you know, top down, windows down, sun in your hair, right? You know, driving the PCH, but trajectory is there, and you're cruising at your own pace. You're going as fast as you want to go, but you're going in the same direction. I love it, man. So Coach Micah B, Wave Combat Sports, what would you say right now, last question, to the man and woman at home between 20 and 50 years old who has never walked into a martial arts gym? They want to look better. They want to feel better. They want to live better. They know the treadmills. They know aerobics. They know Zumba. They even know, you know, CrossFit and some of those others, but they've never thrown a 1-2 punch. What would you say to that person?
So it's funny that you say this, because I'm making a what your first day is like, both POV style narration over it.
That's so cool.
I know I'm basically going to take you through a whole class, unedited and edited. So I'm going to have two options. If you want to watch the whole fucking class, I'm going to show it to you. So that way, because I feel like sometimes we will read 30 fucking Amazon reviews, dude, at minimum, before you buy anything that's priced over $60. And it's like, dude, that's time and energy, but we're gonna do it. And this is just a $70 thing. I just don't want to get the wrong thing. It has less to do with the money. It's just like, I just don't want the wrong stupid thing. So I would say I'm aware of your worries. I'm aware of the objections per se. I'm going to show you that it's not that big of a deal. But I do want to preface this by saying, if you go to the wrong gym, you will have an unpleasant experience.
Yep.
So do your best to find somebody in the space that is aware and has trained at multiple gyms in your area. That would be the best idea, because reviews can be faked. You know, you can go in there and get a trial, and you're not likely to get hurt or anything, but it's possible you could go into a place where they just throw you into hard drilling, hard sparring for no reason. So I want you to go through the reviews. Go through the reviews, read the reviews. If they have none, don't go to that gym. Please don't. Read the reviews on Facebook. What are the common themes? If the common themes are the environment is so good, the community is great, this instructor really knows their stuff, all these are good things. These are the things that you're looking for when you're looking through the reviews. Take the trial. They might have some high pressure salesy stuff. Be prepared to say no if that's not the place you think you should be at. Go with your gut feeling. Yep. Your gut feeling is never wrong. Not in those places, because your gut feeling is identifying danger. And if you think this could be a dangerous place, how clean is the place? Look around. Is it clean? If it's not clean, you're much more likely to get some kind of ringworm or staph. You do not want MRSA, bro. So how clean is everything? Go to the bathrooms. How clean are the bathrooms? Is there toilet paper in there? Is there some kind of checklist? Is there schedule? Because how we do anything is how we do everything. Yep. Is when you go to the website, is there a schedule? Is there instructors breakdown? Does it look like a shitty website? It'll probably be a shitty fucking place too. But don't just be fooled by the website. Go look through everything. Yep. And just go in there with no expectation. That's like the best. Just be there, be present, be yourself. Don't worry about what you look like. Everybody's going to expect you to suck anyways. You're brand new. And don't compare yourself to other people, because they're not at the same party in your journey. It's okay if you're not good at something. I actually practice a new skill all the time, just so I can remind myself how fucking bad I am at most things. I learned to juggle like during the fucking quarantine, because it's hard as shit. And so I love doing that to create the empathy and have empathy for people when I see them learning something like this, because this is a very difficult task, especially under pressure around other people who are seemingly amazing at it. It's okay. Take the step, take the leap. This is going to change your life. If you are right now asking people, what book should I read? Okay, I got the David Goggins book. I got the Jocko Willink book. What podcast should I listen to? Fuck all those things until you try martial arts. Then those things start to resonate and speak more and more volumes of truth. It's amazing. But without the context of martial arts and training martial arts, all this shit is bullshit. All that shit. I've never been around more real motherfuckers than people who train martial arts. Everybody else is capped, dude. They're full of shit. I don't fuck with them that much. And the martial artists, they're real deal. They're definitely the real deal. It's amazing. And you'll be amazing too. So if you want even a shred of real confidence, you need to have this in your back pocket.
I love it, brother. Well said, Coach Micah B. It's been an honor once again to chat with you, to spend the time and chewing up the air with you.
Thank you so much, Mike. Hey, and anytime we're around each other, man, we got to connect. Got to make some content for sure.
Plan is to get out your way, to be up in the Pacific Northwest some point, maybe later spring or so. If not early fall. We're going on a big camping trip around North America. So
please stop by. Give me a heads up. We'll plan some stuff out, man. I really, that'd be an honor for me.
Likewise, my man. I look forward to it. And everybody here needs to go to wavecombatsports.com. Check out what Coach Micah B has going on in Tacoma, Washington, but also follow Coach Micah B on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere you are social. Coach Micah B is being social for you and with you. So definitely check him out, brother. Thank you once again for being here. I really was looking forward to this, and you crushed it once again. And we'll be talking soon.
Thank you so much, brother. Talk soon.
Man. Later. Bye.
Peace.